Welcome to the Future of the Music Business. This is Steve Gordon. Today I want to welcome to the show Greg Scholl, Executive Director at Jazz at Lincoln Center. Mr. Scholl joined Jazz at Lincoln Center in April 2012. He was formerly president of the Local Integrated Media Department at NBC Universal, and prior to that, president and CEO of The Orchard, the digital music distributor. Jazz at Lincoln Center is a not-for-profit arts organization which celebrated its 25th anniversary in the 2012-13 programming season. Greg works closely with managing and artistic director Wynton Marsalis. Greg, welcome to the Future of the Music Business.
Thanks very much, and thanks for having me.
Greg, tell us a little bit about Jazz at Lincoln Center and your role there as executive director.
Sure. Jazz at Lincoln Center, as you mentioned, we're celebrating our 25th anniversary. It started as a small concert series in New York of jazz performances and kind of grew from there, became a constituent of Lincoln Center. And then in 2004, we opened our performance facility home, the Frederick P. Rose Hall, or the House of Swing, which is on the corner of Central Park at Columbus Circle, 59th Street, overlooking the park. It's three amazing performance venues, the Rose Theater, the Allen Room, and Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola. And the organization has a 15-member orchestra that's a full part of the organization called the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra, featuring Wynton Marsalis. It's the mission of our organization is threefold. We're focused on performance, education, and advocacy on behalf of jazz globally. And to that end, we have over 20 education programs, including the essentially Ellington high school, year-long high school band program that culminates in a festival here in New York. Over 100 performances, live music every night at Dizzy's. The orchestra tours all over the world. We have a club in Doha and Qatar with the St. Regis there. And we're opening venues as well in Shanghai and in Dubai with partners. And it's an exciting time to be part of Jazz Lincoln Center and an exciting time to be part of jazz, I think.
Well, I want to focus on new technologies and how a not-for-profit music-based organization such as Jazz at Lincoln Center is taking advantage of them. But you've been involved with digital music for a long time. Can you tell us first what it was like to be president of the Orchard and what were your greatest achievements there?
It was great to be a part of that. And the Orchard, I joined the Orchard in 2003 when as a part of the group that had purchased the company from the founders, Richard Goddard and Scott Cohen, both of whom are still with the organization. And it was really rethinking the business model, the value proposition, starting to target higher profile labels and artists, and really scaling into a full marketing and services business for the digital age. Scott and Richard were very visionary in understanding the importance of digital rights long before a lot of other people did. And we were right on 2003 on the cusp of all that starting to happen, and saw it from an investment standpoint as a real opportunity to aggressively go after this market and build a services business for independent artists and labels. And so that's what we did. I mean, I think the thing that I would be proudest of is the team that we built there, and the fact that it's now the largest leading distributor, arguably in the world. Sony is now a part owner of the organization. All of their independent content is managed, a robust video offering, and really being a part of that and leading that transformation. It was a fantastic professional experience, and I have an enormous amount of pride in what we've accomplished there, and what Brad Navin, who was general manager for most of the time that I was running the organization, and then when I left for NBC, helped him and get into that role, and he's done a great job since, and the company's just continuing to grow and grow and grow.
Now, after the Orchard, you went to NBC, and I believe that you continued your career in the digital space there. Am I right?
Yeah, that's it was a call I got from a former client in my consulting days, who the basic premise was, do what you did in music, let's do that for local media, news and information, and which was a very interesting opportunity on a lot of different levels, but it's not ultimately where my heart is, and it was something that I learned a lot. It was interesting to be part of that organization, which is very well run, to be part of the Comcast chapter of it. I have a lot of respect for them as operators and learned things working as a part of that. But it was, in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have left music because it's just where my heart was. So I was very susceptible when Winton called to talk about an opportunity here to kind of wander back in, and albeit in a very different type of organization, but wander back into music and kind of be there with the knowledge of the other side of the fence and knowing it's really where my heart is.
Well, let's focus now on the music and the new technologies. First, tell us how Jazz at Lincoln Center has been using them up to the present time. I know, for instance, they've been working with Sirius Radio for a long time, and also that the website has a section for live webcasts. Tell us about these projects.
Yeah, well, I think there's been a long-standing Sirius relationship. It started as an XM relationship and was really part of when the building was built. One of the things, it's great working with Winton because he's not only, obviously a virtuosic performer and an incredible composer and such an important person within jazz, but he's also equally important and interesting, at least in other fields like in management and organization. And thinking about this building, understood the importance of it being a fully fiber wired, fully digitally enabled building. So, we have a great board. There are a lot of people involved in it coming to be, but he had a vision for what this facility ought to be and what it can enable us to do on behalf of the music that is performed in it. And so XM was a part of it out of the gate in building. We have the largest Pro Tools rig in New York. We have all fiber from the rooms and all the way to an unbelievable amount of connectivity, more than Radio City, to the facility itself. And Sirius produces some of its shows out of our space as a tenant today. And so there's a history of innovation within the organization. One of the things, I'm relatively new still. I've been here for about a year now. So we started this year as a beta and ended up producing 222 webcasts over the course of the season, mostly from Rose and Alan, and one night a week from Dizzy's, and also from Doha, some from there as well. And the goals were really to get our production methodology down, understand how we were going to shoot the shows and tell the story of how individuals on the bandstand communicate and how jazz performance works, to try to bring people into that a bit, as opposed to just a fixed camera. So Rose and Alan were multi-camera and worked through. Dizzy's will become multi-camera. Right now it's still fixed camera. And we kind of it was a beta year. We learned a lot in preparation for a more formal launch. But we had over 100,000 unique viewers without any promotion or advertising, and in fact, we have some web work to do on the site and so forth that sometimes can be challenging to get to the webcast. It's on live stream, on our channel on live stream, which is the easiest way to watch it, and also JALC, JALC.org, /live, LIVE. But one of the interesting things we learned is there were people that tuned in from over 171 different countries, which is really remarkable if you think about it. And it speaks to something that we believe very strongly, which is there's a very, very large, committed, passionate global market for jazz, but it's extremely diffuse. It's extremely difficult to access, and it hasn't been kind of knit together in a way that it could act as a block for advocacy on behalf of the music. So this is really the year of advocacy and audience development within Jazz at Lincoln Center, and it's focusing on everything we learned from this first beta year, building out the webcast product and trying to gather a global audience of people who assert a relationship with Jazz at Lincoln Center, and then among them we want to find people, we call them jazz ambassadors, people who are interested in working on behalf of the music. And an important point here is this is on behalf of jazz and not Jazz at Lincoln Center. Our objectives and advocacy is a jazz advocacy objective and not a Jazz at Lincoln Center advocacy objective. And that's kind of where we're focused. And there's obviously a lot of ways that technology plays to do that. I think fundamentally, it's a way of having the audience come together over the absolute best that this music has to offer, which is a live performance media. Live jazz is jazz is a performance art. Not that there aren't great records and not that studio work isn't interesting, but people coming together and swinging and exhibiting, communicating what they have to say on the bandstand is a magical thing, and we want people to experience what that means for their life and understand that, jazz makes you feel good. It's not scary. You don't need a PhD to listen to it. And if people tell me I'm not a big jazz fan, I kind of think, well, you probably just don't know yet what kind of jazz you like, because it's kind of impossible not to be a jazz fan of some stripe. And that's the objective for the coming year.
And because this is the business of the music business, of the future of music business, I'd like to talk to you about monetization. I know that Jazz at Lincoln Center is a not-for-profit, but that doesn't prevent you from doing various things. And just to give a plug to our mutual friend Spike Wilner at Small's Jazz Club, we were talking before the interview that Spike is allowing people to access his archives through his website for a small subscription fee, and then he's going to split the monies 50-50 with the artists. Do you envision any kind of business model like that at Jazz at Lincoln Center?
Well, an important point, I probably should have made it earlier, is when our orchestra plays, it's one thing. That's an event. Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra is performing. We obviously care about the archive and the legacy of the organization, but we present artists, and Dizzy's is almost wholly artists that are coming to play. We webcast these. We give the rights to the artists that are playing. Right. So you walk out of the date and you have, within a certain period of time, line edit of an HD audio video webcast, and it's yours for promotional use, unlimited promotional use. And to the extent there's ever commercial exploitation, which is great, if we can find ways to make money, we work out a deal on how that works, and our goal is to keep our mission alive, and part of that is we're trying to help people make a living as jazz artists, so it's in our interest to strike deals that reflect that. So there are some commercialization opportunities. I think right now, particularly thinking about something like a webcast, it's still so early in the activation of the global jazz audience, so to speak, that any friction between our ability to build audience and galvanize a kind of global movement is bad. So the amount we might make in the short term dwarfs the impact we could have in the long term. And I think what's much more interesting is, let's say I'm an Aaron Deal or Cecile, or Jonathan Batiste, these phenomenal young artists that are coming up and have played and performed here. Is if we can amass a big enough audience on our digital channels, we have an initiative we're about to announce with YouTube. We're going to have a channel with them. Okay. You heard it first, although breaking news. And the aspiration would be, this is a place where Aaron could come in and augment the content that we have up, and so that the audience that gathers there has the opportunity to discover him, to follow him. His social widgets are incorporated into the site, and it can be something where we can make sure that if I'm a jazz fan in London, in Zimbabwe, in Argentina, in Manhattan, that everyone in the world who's performing that I should like because of my taste, I know about and like. So we want kind of, if we could deliver full knowledge to the world of the incredible artists that are out there and are working right now, and then the rest really takes care of itself. So now, that said, if we can get sponsors to wrap around that, if there's ways to monetize an audience, then we absolutely will take advantage of them, and we'll deliver that value back equitably to share with the artists who are participating.
That sounds great. When is the Jazz at Lincoln Center YouTube channel launching, if that's what you call it?
It'd be probably we're getting an exact date around it, but end of August would be the formal launch. There'll be a beta probably in a couple weeks. The beta. There's a channel there. Yeah, it is very exciting. And they've been great. I think there's a real interest in a belief in this music and an interest in their part to, and I don't know if this is apocryphal or true, but I think there's 1 billion unique viewers a month on YouTube at this point. So you think about the opportunity for a committed partner to help us find people who care about this music and help them get to a place where we collectively, all of us, can have a collective impact on the social, cultural conversation. It's a very exciting prospect. It could be the start of something very interesting for jazz.
Well, I'm going to have Jeff Price, the founder of TuneCorp, on the show soon, and he's going to talk about Audium, which is his new company, which helps you or anyone monetize their video content on YouTube. So I visited YouTube yesterday, and I found a button for YouTube partners, and I clicked on it, and I became a partner of YouTube through my AdSense account. And if I could do it, anybody can do it. And now that I've done that, I looked at my video, which promotes the book, The Future of the Music Business, and there's a pizza commercial before the video now. So
building on your long-standing love of pizza, I'm sure.
Well, I didn't ask for the pizza commercial, but I needed to experiment with the new technology. So it seems like anybody can partner with YouTube at this point. Is this something that you're contemplating, pizza commercials in front of videos?
We're working that through now. I mean, I'm personally not a big fan of that type of monetization for what we do. I think this is a very sophisticated, highly produced, and important social product. I think just having it be massed into an ad network, it's never going to be as big as the NFL. So I think the sponsorship opportunities are much more interesting for like brands that are simpatico with the jazz audience and interested in associating with the organization and the values of the music and the organization. That's, I think, a more interesting route to take.
Right. So you have to negotiate those wrinkles with YouTube. But now that we've discussed all these initiatives, have we left anything out? Is there anything else you want to talk about in terms of digital?
I think the other interesting area of digital where we're focusing a lot of time and attention right now is around education. It's an organization that from the start has been education and activation around concerts has been part of what the organization does, and teaching is very core to Wynton personally, and what he's done over his entire career. He's equally an educator as an artist. So not surprisingly, we have a very rich and robust set of programs that wrap around everything that we do here. There's over 20 programs for jazz, everything from essentially Ellington to a partnership with the Harlem Children's Zone, in the interesting things that are going on just uptown there. So that is an area where we're working on something called the Jazz Academy, which is like a Khan Academy model for making video segments of everything from how to play gospel organ to how to comp with the guitar over big band music, available to teachers and aspiring musicians or any kind of musician really. And there's a bunch of different projects underway. MOOCs, which is the online courses with Phil Schaap as part of organization, the legendary jazzophile, jazz expert, radio personality, and has developed Swing University with Wynton over many years. It's probably Phil would want me to affirmatively state it is definitively the finest body of jazz coursework in the world. But there's opportunities for products like that to take them in a way that they can get that asymmetrical distribution, and people can access them all over the world. So there's a bunch of initiatives, slightly drinking from a fire hose that we're trying to be disciplined about pursuing in a rigorous, systematic way, but at the same time not missing out on any opportunities. So that's a second stream. And then the third stream is the archive of the organization, which is just the music of the orchestra and of Winton. 25 years of performance here. It's all been recorded.
Unbelievable. 25 years.
Yeah, hundreds of performances, and there are 12 principles that Winton has developed that really embody the music. Everything from soul, spirit of place, community, through health, purpose, legacy. So we're going through the catalog and taking the music and structuring them in the context of these 12 principles, and that clearly will be a multi-year production process, let alone everything else around getting it out there. But they'll both be regular releases, in a traditional quote-unquote record, or whatever form they now take. Although hopefully there'll be some real records in there too. A personal joy of mine.
Old-fashioned CDs or even vinyl.
No, vinyl. I think it would be nice to have some high-quality vinyl out there.
Seems like we're going full circle here, from newest new technologies to vinyl. Okay.
Oh, or we're going full circle to music becomes I guess it's a whole separate conversation of it's a singles business to drive demand for performance.
Well,
I think you could argue, being a big '78 collector, it's kind of where the music's going back to that thinking about the music.
Gotcha. It's all about the music, but you've got so many initiatives going on, digital and otherwise. What are your biggest challenges? Is it about the challenges are technological, money, anything else?
The biggest challenge is there's an opportunity for us at Jazz at Lincoln Center to do what we do in a way that really draws on jazz's metaphor. And this is, again, something where Winton has given a lot of thought, and it's kind of enlightened management organizational thinking that he's done over many years. And the notion of when Winton looks at a score and says, I know there's an unbelievable amount of information that's conveyed in this, and anyone can take it and play it because it's notated. It's as simple as possible, but not simpler. And I think our challenge is to bring that level of rigor and discipline to bear on how we do what we do as an organization, while embodying, swing, improvisation, and being rooted in the blues, that overcoming adversity in the face of, being optimistic in the face of adversity, swing being a way of coming together with a common foundation for working together, and then improvisation is, celebrating everybody's creativity and letting people express themselves. I think the biggest challenge we have is to truly execute in a way that fits within that. Right. And I think that we would not only be more successful, but I think it could be a really interesting template for organizations to say, there's an interesting way to think about how we do what we do for organizations that have nothing to do with jazz. And I'd say that, it's a tall order it's hard enough to get this stuff done, but it's a tall order to do it in that kind of an enlightened way.
Is there any way that our listeners can keep up with developments of all these programs at Jazz at Lincoln Center?
Sure. There's go to Facebook, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on live stream. And I think our website, JALC.org, it needs a lot of work. We're working on it. But a lot of the fundamental information about the organization, particularly when you get into things like education, where there's more detail on the specific programs and so forth, is you can find in there. And be a part of what we're trying to do. If you care about jazz, reach out, connect with us. And the big thing we need to understand is, how do we engage the global community, and what do we provide to people to help them be effective advocates for this music on behalf of this music? So we're here working on that, and if people have ideas, love to hear from them.
Okay, Greg, it sounds terrific. I really appreciate your time today, and good luck with all of your very diverse digital as well as jazz endeavors.
Well, thank you very much. It's a blast to do it, and at the end of the day, I can wander over to Dizzy's and catch a set. I have no complaints, even on difficult days.
Dizzy's is terrific. And on that note, thank you for joining us, Greg Scholl, Executive Director of Jazz at Lincoln Center. That's the way I know.